Hi all, welcome to the English class of Leeds College Perambra. The last class we had been discussing a story written by Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. The story is entitled as The Snake and the Mirror. So in the story we have seen a protagonist. He is a homeopath. His name is not specifically mentioned, and we have seen some incidents and the thoughts of protagonists in the story. He has to be very smart, he has to be handsome, he has to be beautiful, he is a beauty admirer, all those things we have seen. And as soon as he came back from the restaurant, he entered his room, a smaller room, a rented house, where he could regularly hear a sound, but he doesn't mind it because there were plenty of rats. So at last, when we stopped the class, we were in the paragraph number 10. There we have seen at last the sound. We could understand who produced that sound when a snake fallen down to the floor. Okay. There we have seen a snake, and the snake coiled over homeopath's body, and they were looking each other eyes to eye. Okay. So have a look at the 11th paragraph. I didn't jump, I didn't tremble, I didn't cry out. There was no time to do any such thing. The snake slithered along my shoulder and coiled round my left arm above the elbow. The hood was spread out, and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. So, death and life are face to face, looking face to face. We can say like that. Okay. The snake symbolizes death, whereas the homeopath symbolizes the urge, the desire to live the life. Okay. So I didn't jump. I was not able to jump. Okay. I didn't jump out of fear. Okay. Then I didn't tremble. I didn't start to quiver. Okay. I didn't cry out. I didn't make any noise because not because of that the homeopath was too much courageous, but because of he was just like a stone. He was frozen of fear. Okay. There was no time to do any such things. There was no time to cry. There was no time to jump. There was no time to run out. There was no time even to shiver. Okay, that is why. So, there was no time to do any such thing. The snake slithered. It might be a new word for you, slither. Slithered. The snake slithered. Slither. Okay. It's a light THER. Slither means to move. To move smoothly. To move smoothly. Okay. You know, if you observe a snake, you know how does it go in a zigzag way. So, the snake slithered. Okay. The snake slithered, which means the snake moved gently, or the snake moved smoothly along my shoulder. You just imagine that situation, that scene. You just bring that scene into your mind. A snake is slithered. The snake is moving. The snake is crawling around your body, along your body. How does you feel? Okay. So, slithered along my shoulder and coiled along my shoulder. It was moving. It was crawling along my shoulder and coiled. It twisted out. Okay. The snake coiled around, it twisted around, it coiled around my left arm above the elbow. Elbow means the joint in between forearm and upper arm. Okay. This is what is forearm, this is what is upper arm. This part is known as elbow. Okay. So, this elbow, around this elbow, it coiled around the elbow. Shoulder and coiled around my left arm above the elbow. Just the upper part of the arm, the upper arm. The snake coiled around not the elbow, but the upper part of the arm. I mean upper arm. Okay. So, The hood was spread out. What is hood? Hood എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ hood. Hood is the head of the snake. പത്തി എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പറയും, മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയും അല്ലേ? The head of the snake. Snake. It spread out the hood, which means it extended the hood into a larger area. Patti vidarthi. Okay, so the hood was spread out, and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. There was no gap between 3 or 4 inches between the face of that homeopath and the snake. Okay, they were looking eyes to eyes. What would happen next? Okay, as I told you, there were no 3 or 4 inches gap between the life and death. Okay, മരണവും ജീവിതവും ഇങ്ങനെ മുഖാമുഖം നോക്കി നിൽക്കുകയാണ് അല്ലേ? ഒരു 3-4 ഇഞ്ചുകൾ മാത്രം വ്യത്യാസം മരണത്തിനും എന്താണ് ജീവിതത്തിനും ഇടയിൽ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല, കാരണം അത്രയും അടുത്തിട്ടാണ്. ഒന്നനങ്ങിയാൽ the snake may bite. Okay, so the hood was spread out, and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. Anything might happen. Okay, it would not be correct to say merely that I sat there holding my breath. I was turned to stone, but my mind was very active. The door opened into darkness. The room was filled with darkness. In the light of the lamp, I sat there like a stone image in the flesh. Okay, it would not be correct to say merely that I sat there holding my breath. It is not correct to say that I simply sat there just like a stone, just holding my breath. ഞാൻ ശ്വാസം അടക്കി പിടിച്ച് അവിടെ ഇരുന്നു എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ശരിയല്ല. Okay, my body was not active, but my mind was active. I was turned to stone. Actually, my body was turned to stone because it became stone. It became stone. I was just a stone-like image. Okay, I was a statue, just like a statue. I was sitting there. Okay, but my mind was very active. Okay, if my body was active, what would happen? If my body was active, if my body makes any smaller movement, that there is a possibility for death. That is why my body was just like a stone, just like a statue, but my mind was very active. But my mind was very active. The door opened into the darkness. The door remained open to the darkness. അല്ലേ, വാതിലിങ്ങനെ ഇരുട്ടിലേക്ക് തുറന്നിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഓക്കെ, ഇരുട്ട് ഞാനിങ്ങനെ കാണുന്നുണ്ട്. The room was filled with darkness. There was not enough light. We know that the house is not electrified, so there was not enough light in the room. Okay, there was a light of lamp that we know. Okay, in the light of the lamp, I sat there like a stone in the flesh. മാംസമുള്ള കൽപ്രതിമ, അത് എന്താണ് ഒരു അല്ലേ, മാംസമുള്ള കൽപ്രതിമ കണക്കെ, മാംസം കൊണ്ട് നിർമ്മിച്ച ഒരു കൽപ്രതിമ കണക്കെ. I was sitting there just like a stone image, just like a statue with the flesh. Okay, so have a look at that 2 paragraph, 11th and 12th. I didn't jump, I didn't tremble, I didn't cry out. There was no time to do any such a thing. The snake slithered along my shoulder and coiled around my left arm above the elbow. The hood was spread out, and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. It would not be correct to say merely that I sat there holding my breath. I was turned to stone, but my mind was very active. The door opened into the darkness. The room was filled with darkness. In the light of the lamp, I sat there like a stone image in the flesh. Okay, I hope these 2 paragraphs are clear. We can move to the next paragraph, 13th paragraph. I felt then a great presence of the creator of this world and this universe. God was there. Suppose I said something and he did not like it. I tried in my imagination to write in bright letters outside my little heart the words, "Oh God." Even though some of us believe in God, we regularly do not remember the presence of God. Actually, sincerely we remember God, we offer prayers to God when we are in danger. The same happened in the case of homeopathy. Okay. I felt then the great presence of the creator of this world and this universe. The creator of this world and this universe means the omnipotent, the omnipresent, the one and only almighty God. Okay, ദൈവത്തെയാണ് അവിടെ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് അല്ലേ. ഈ പ്രപഞ്ചത്തിൻ്റെ സൃഷ്ടാവെന്നും ഈ എന്താണ് ലോകത്തിൻ്റെ സൃഷ്ടാവെന്നും വിളിച്ചിട്ട് അല്ലേ ഹോമിയോപ്പതി അഡ്രസ്സ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആരെയാണ് അല്ലേ, പ്രപഞ്ചനാഥൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ദ ഗോഡ് ഇറ്റ്സെൽഫ്. Okay, I felt then the great presence of the God. Okay, when we are in danger, we feel the presence of God, or we wish for the presence, for the help of God, for the assistance of God. The same happens in the case of homeopathy. God was there. He thinks in this danger, he thinks the God is somewhere else. Okay, suppose I said something and he did not like it. Why I am in trouble? The homeopath thinks now, why I am in trouble, why I am in danger, because of he does something against the likings of God. Okay, against the wish of God. Okay, ദൈവത്തിൻ്റെ ഇഷ്ടത്തിനെതിരായിട്ട് ഞാൻ എന്തോ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. Okay, that is why I am in trouble, I am in a situation like this. Okay, that is why at present I am facing the death. Okay, I tried in my imagination to write in bright letters outside my little heart the words of God. എൻ്റെ എന്താണ് ഹൃദയത്തിനപ്പുറത്ത് the outside of my heart I tried to write the letter oh God in glazing letters, in shining letters. Okay, അല്ലേ, തിളങ്ങുന്ന അക്ഷരങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ട് എൻ്റെ ഹൃദയത്തിൻ്റെ മേലെ ഞാൻ ദൈവത്തിൻ്റെ പേര് എഴുതാൻ ശ്രമിച്ചു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ there you have to understand he sincerely wished for the help of the God. He sincerely praised God. He sincerely offered the prayer to God. Oh God, please save me from this danger, from this difficult situation, from this danger. Okay, so there was some pain in my left arm. It was as if a thick leaden rod, a rod made of molten fire, was slowly but powerfully crushing my arm. The arm was beginning to be drained of all strength. What could I do? See what happened next. There was some pain in my left arm. We know that the snake is coiled around his upper arm. Okay, so here after some time, after coiling around, he started to feel some pain. Slowly the intensity of pain started to increase. Okay, വേദന ഇങ്ങനെ കൂടാൻ തുടങ്ങി. ഓക്കെ, അതായത് ഇതിങ്ങനെ ചുറ്റിപ്പിടിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം അതിൻ്റെ എന്താണ് ഒരു പിടുത്തം, ദാറ്റ് ഗ്രാസ്പ്, ദാറ്റ് ക്ലച്ച്, അതെന്താണ് ഇങ്ങനെ ശക്തമാവാൻ തുടങ്ങി. ഇറ്റ് സ്റ്റാർട്ടഡ് ടു ഇൻക്രീസ്. There was some pain in my left arm. It was as if a thick leaden rod. What is leaden rod? Leaden rod means leaden rod. Leaden rod means a rod made of lead. lead നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാലോ, ലെഡ് കൊണ്ടുണ്ടാക്കിയ ഒരു ഇരുമ്പ് കഷ്ണം ചുറ്റിയിട്ടിരിക്കുന്നത് പോലെ എന്താണ് എനിക്ക് ആ പാമ്പ് ചുറ്റിപ്പിടിച്ച ആ ഭാഗത്ത് എനിക്ക് വല്ലാതെ വേദന അനുഭവപ്പെടുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, നോട്ട് സിംപ്ലി എ റോഡ്, വെറും ഒരു റോഡാണെന്ന് പറയാം. അത് എങ്ങനെ റോഡാണ്? എ റോഡ് മെയ്ഡ് ഓഫ് മോൾട്ടൻ ഫയർ. മോൾട്ടൻ ഫയർ മീൻസ് എന്താണ്, ഉരുക്കിയെടുത്ത ലെഡ് കൊണ്ട് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ കമ്പി എൻ്റെ കൈക്ക് എന്താണ് ചുറ്റിപ്പിടിച്ചതുപോലെയുണ്ട്. അത്രയും എന്താണ് പെയിൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. സോ എ റോഡ് മെയ്ഡ് ഓഫ് മോൾട്ടൻ ഫയർ was slowly but powerfully crushing my arm. The snake started to crush, to crumble, to press, to squeeze his arms. Okay, he started to feel the pain. Okay, extreme pain. So the arm was beginning to be drained. Drained means weakened. Okay, it started to weaken. Okay, his arm became weak. Okay, and of all strength, he lost all the strength. What could I do? At that time he thought, what can I do? Who will save my life? Whether I am going to die or not, he thinks of that. So that is the 14th paragraph. There was some pain in my left arm. It was as if a thick leaden rod, a rod made of molten fire was slowly but powerfully crushing my arm. The arm was beginning to be drained of all strength. What could I do? Okay, so in the homeopathy is actually in a helpless situation. He cannot do anything. He can do only the thing is that he just called for the help of the God, the omnipotent, the Almighty. We don't know what is going to happen the next. Okay, 15th paragraph. At my slightest movement, the snake would strike me. If I make a little movement, a smaller movement, okay, if I just move it there or to here or to forward or to backward, whatever I do, okay, it would disturb, it would annoy that snake. Because of that disturbance, because of that annoyance, it might bite me, it might strike me, then kottiyekam, adane kadichekam. So I sat there just like a stone, just like a statue. Death lurked means to wait secretly. Okay, to wait secretly. ഇല്ലേ, നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ ഒളിച്ചിരിക്കുക, അല്ലേ, രഹസ്യമായിട്ട് കാത്തിരിക്കുക. Death is lurking somewhere else. Death is waiting for me, for my soul. ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കൂ, അല്ലേ, മരണം എന്നെ ഇങ്ങനെ കാത്തിരിക്കുകയാണ്, അല്ലേ, somewhere around me, somewhere else, or under the table, or outside of the room, or in the roof of the room, or just like in the form of, just like in the figure of that snake, അല്ലേ, എന്താണ്, പാമ്പിൻ്റെ രൂപത്തിൽ എന്താണ് മരണം എന്നെ ഇങ്ങനെ കാത്തിരിക്കുക. Okay. Death lurked 4 inches away. It is not too far, it is only 4 inches away. The death is waiting for me secretly somewhere in the room, only in the 4 in between the 4 inches. Okay, 4 ഇഞ്ചുകൾക്കപ്പുറം, 4 അടികൾക്കപ്പുറത്ത് എന്താണ് മരണം എന്നെ എങ്ങനെ കാത്തിരിക്കുകയാണ്. Suppose it struck. What was the medicine I had to take? He just look around. Okay, if it is, just imagine, suppose the snake has bitten the homeopath. Okay, what can I do? What kind of medicine I can apply in my body in the injury? ഇതിപ്പോൾ പാമ്പ് കടിച്ചെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കും, അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ എന്ത് മരുന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ പറ്റുക? അയാൾ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ചിന്തിച്ചു. അപ്പോൾ ചിന്തിച്ചാൽ അയാൾക്ക് എന്താണ് ഒരു വലിയ സത്യം മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പറ്റും. എന്താണ്? There were no medicines in the room. There was no any medicines in the room at all. I was but a poor, foolish and stupid doctor. No, what a magic. Just before, we know that just before the incident, he was praising himself. He was attracted by his beauty. He was thinking of his handsome nature. He was thinking of the changes that he has to make in his habit. He has to shave he has to make a regular shaving, all those things that we have seen. So, എത്ര മിനിറ്റുകൾ കൊണ്ടാണ് ആ ചിന്ത മാറിയത്. ഞാൻ എത്രയോ ഹാൻസം ആണ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ നാവ് കൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഇയാൾ പറയുന്നു, ഐ എം എ ഫൂളിഷ് പുവർ ഡോക്ടർ. അല്ലേ, സഡൻലി ദ ഗോഡ് ഹാസ് ചേഞ്ച്ഡ് ദാറ്റ് സിറ്റുവേഷൻ. Okay, I was but poor, foolish and stupid doctor. My brain is empty. Empty-headed man. That homeopathy is an empty-headed man. He calls himself. The person has called him. Earlier we have seen that he is handsome. All over that he is a doctor. He has more and more concepts about his life, his marital life, about his wife and all those things that we have seen. So, there were no medicines in the room. I was but poor, foolish and stupid doctor. I forgot my danger and smiled feebly at myself. Okay, He, he just he just thought of the contradiction of situation, and he just smiled feebly. Feebly means weakly, helplessly. നിസ്സഹായതയോടുകൂടി അയാൾക്കൊന്ന് ചിരിക്കാനല്ലാതെ എന്താണ് ഒരു നിമിഷം അയാൾ എന്തിനെക്കുറിച്ച് മറന്നു, ആ അപകടത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് മറന്നു. നിങ്ങൾ ഓർത്ത് നോക്ക്, എത്ര പെട്ടെന്നാണല്ലേ സിറ്റുവേഷൻ മാറിയിട്ട് എന്തായിട്ട് മാറുന്നത് അല്ലേ, അതൊരു ഡേഞ്ചറസ് സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ആയിട്ട് മാറുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, ആൻഡ് സ്മൈൽഡ് ഫീബ്ലി അറ്റ് മൈസെൽഫ്. So 16th paragraph. It seemed as if God appreciated that. The snake turned its head. It looked into the mirror and saw its reflection. I do not claim that it was the first snake that had ever looked into a mirror, but it was certain that the snake was looking into the mirror. Was it admiring its own beauty? Was it trying to make an important decision about growing a mustache or using eyeshadow and mascara or wearing a vermilion spot on its forehead? It seemed as if God appreciated that. He felt that the God heard his prayer. Okay, God has appreciated him. Okay, God had heard something that he offered earlier. The snake turned its head. The snake, we know that the snake was looking at him. The snake and the homeopath was like in this position. Okay, the snake was looking at him. Okay, for a few time they were looking eye to eye, that we know. Okay, after some time the snake turned its head. Okay, turned its head. It looked into the mirror. When the snake turned its head, the snake happened to see a mirror on the table. The snake saw its reflection in the mirror. Okay, it looked into the mirror and saw its reflection. Another snake in the mirror. Okay, I do not claim that. I will never argue that it is the first snake in the world that is looking at the mirror. ലോകത്തിൽ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് കണ്ണാടി നോക്കുന്ന ഒരു എന്താണ് പാമ്പ് ഇതാണെന്ന് എനിക്ക് അവകാശപ്പെടാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ മുൻപ് വേറെ എവിടെയെങ്കിലും സംഭവിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. പക്ഷേ this particular snake in the story was clearly looking into the mirror. ഈ എന്താണ് പാമ്പ് ശരിക്കും കണ്ണാടിയിൽ തന്നെ നോക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. Because of the snake sees another one in the mirror. That might be the reason. He is thinking, that homeopath is thinking, what might be the reason? So he says that he is guessing some reasons because of it was certain that the snake was looking into the mirror. Was it admiring its own beauty? Sometimes the snake was attracted by its own beauty. That might be the reason the snake is looking at the mirror. Okay, another one. Was it trying to make an important decision that the homeopath has already taken? We know that homeopath has taken some decision, some important decision to make him more handsome, more clever and more beautiful. We know that. Like that, whether the snake was trying to take an important decision to make its beauty more attractive. We don't know. That is his guessing, that homeopath guessing. Was it trying to make an important decision about growing a mustache? പാമ്പ് എന്താണ് ഞാൻ ചിന്തിച്ചതുപോലെ മീശ വളർത്തുന്നതിനെ പറ്റി ചിന്തിക്കായിരിക്കുമോ? ഓർ യൂസിങ് ഐ ഷാഡോ ആൻഡ് മെസ്കാര. അതെ, മെസ്കാര അല്ലേ, നമുക്കറിയാം. ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് എ കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് എന്താണ് ബ്യൂട്ടി അല്ലേ, ഇതിനു വേണ്ടി നമ്മൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഒരു സാധനമാണ് അല്ലേ. നമ്മുടെ ഐലാഷ് എന്താണ് തിക്കൻ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഒരു കോസ്മെറ്റിക്കാണ്. ഓക്കെ, ഐലാഷൊക്കെ തിക്കൻ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്, ബ്ലാക്കൻ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കോസ്മെറ്റിക്. ഓക്കെ, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് മസ്കാര. ഓക്കെ, മസ്കാര. ഓക്കെ, എ കോസ്മെറ്റിക് യൂസ്ഡ് to thicken and blacken the eyelash. ഇതാണ് മസ്കാര എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, or wearing a vermilion spot, കുറി പൊട്ട് അല്ലേ, on its forehead. That homeopath was thinking about that snake. What would be in the mind of the snake when the snake was looking into the mirror? Is it thinking about using a vermilion spot on its forehead, or using mascara to be more beautiful, or thinking of growing of mustache? ഇത് രണ്ടും ഈ രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങളും അല്ലേ ഒരാൾ ചെയ്തത്. അത് മീശ വളർത്തുന്ന ആളുകളും എന്ത് ഉപയോഗിക്കണമെന്നില്ല, ഈ മസ്താഷ് മീൻസ് എന്താണ് മസ്കാര ഉപയോഗിക്കണമെന്നില്ല അല്ലേ. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെ നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് മനസ്സിലാക്കണം? ഹി ഡസൻ നോ ദാറ്റ് ഹോമിയോപ്പതി ഡസൻ നോ വെദർ ദ സ്നേക്ക് ഈസ് മെയിൽ ഓർ ഫീമെയിൽ, ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് മസ്കുലൈൻ ഓർ ഫെമിനൈൻ ജെൻഡർ അല്ലേ. ആണാണോ പെണ്ണാണോ, ഈ പാമ്പ് ആണാണോ പെണ്ണാണോ എന്ന് ആർക്കറിയില്ല, ഈ ഇല്ലേ നമ്മുടെ ഹോമിയോപ്പത്തിന് അറിയില്ല. ഓക്കെ, I did not know anything for certain. What sex was the snake? Was it male or female? I will never know, for the snake unwound itself from my arm and slowly slithered into my lap. From there it crept onto the table and moved towards the mirror. Perhaps it wanted to enjoy its reflection at a closer quarter. Okay, that two paragraph, have a look, 15 and 16th. At my slightest movement, the snake would strike me. Death lurked. We know that lurk meaning to wait secretly somewhere else. Okay, 4 inches away. Suppose it struck. What was the medicine I had to take? There was no medicine in the room. I was but a poor, foolish and stupid doctor. I forgot my danger and smiled feebly at myself. It seemed as if God appreciated that. The snake turned its head. It looked into the mirror and saw its reflection. I do not claim that it was the first snake that had ever looked into a mirror, but it was certain that the snake was looking into the mirror. Was it admiring its own beauty? Was it trying to make an important decision about growing a mustache, or using eyeshadow and mascara, or wearing a vermilion spot on its forehead? So, because of the presence of God, the God blessed that homeopath. Okay, so we know that what kind of blessing that homeopath is going to get in the next paragraph itself, 17th paragraph itself. Okay, so have a look at the 17th paragraph. I did not know anything for certain. I was not sure about. I did not know anything about that snake. I did not definitely know anything about that snake, whether the snake is male or female. I don't know about that. Okay, I am not sure about that. That is why the homeopath says the snake might be thinking of growing mustache, or the snake might be thinking of using mascara. Using mascara is usually done by females, and growing mustache is usually done by the male. That is why he used these two things in the just before paragraph. Okay. I did not know anything about for certain what sex was the snake. I don't know whether the snake is male or female. Was it male or female? I will never know. I don't know. There is no way. For the snake unwound itself from my arm and slowly slithered into my lap. You just imagine that situation. For the snake unwound. Unwound means it made loose its clutch. Okay, and പിടുത്തം അങ്ങനെ അയച്ചു വരാൻ തുടങ്ങി. Okay, അങ്ങനെ ലൂസാക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങി. It is loosened. Okay, it loosened its clutch. It's coiling around the upper part of his elbow. That he made flexible. And slowly it moved, it slithered. We know the meaning of the word slithered. Slither means to move smoothly. The snake started to crawl over his chest. Okay. My arm, and slowly slithered into my lap. From here, it slowly slithered into my lap like this, over my chest and into the lap. He was sitting there, we know that, into the lap. Okay, from the lap, it crept onto the table like here. It moved into the table. We know that on the table there is mirror. Okay, and moved towards the mirror. So we know that as the homeopath said, it was attracted, the snake was attracted its own beauty. So it moved into the mirror. Perhaps it wanted to enjoy its reflection at a closer quarter. Closer quarter means closer quarter. Closer quarter means very close. Okay, too near. Its reflection at closer quarter. Perhaps it wanted to enjoy its reflection, its image, its beauty very closely. That is why the snake moved. The snake crept into its that homeopath's lap. From there, it moved into the table, and it looked before. It stood before the mirror. From there, the snake enjoyed its beauty. Okay. At that time, 18th paragraph, I was no mere image cut in granite. I was suddenly a man of flesh and blood. Still holding my breath, I got up from the chair. I quietly went out through the door into the veranda. From there, I leapt into the yard and ran for all I was worth. Okay. So, from at the very time the snake left his body, he started to be active. His mind and body was active simultaneously. So, I was no mere image cut in granite. As soon as the snake left his body, he felt that he was not an image, not a statue cut in granite, made of granite. Alle, or granite kondu nirmicha oru pradima alla njanennu pettannu aarkku thiricharivariyanu nammade homeopath as soon as the snake left his body. Okay, I became suddenly a man of flesh and blood. Okay, as just like others, I have become a man, simply a man who has wish, desires, then a flesh of blood. അല്ലേ, രക്തവും മജ്ജയും മാംസവും ഉള്ള ഒരു മനുഷ്യനായിട്ട് എന്താണ് ഞാൻ പെട്ടെന്ന് മാറുക. Still, you know one thing, still I am holding my breath because I haven't lost the presence of my mind. Okay, മനസാന്നിധ്യം നഷ്ടപ്പെടില്ല. If I made any sound, if I make any sudden movement, that snake can strike me, that snake can bite me. ഞാൻ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് അനങ്ങിയാൽ ആർക്ക് എന്നെ കൊത്താൻ പറ്റും? ഈ പാമ്പിനെ ആക്രമിക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ഇപ്പോഴെന്താണ്, still I am holding my breath. Okay, ഞാൻ ഇപ്പോഴും ശ്വാസം പിടിച്ചിരിക്കുകയാണ്. And from the chair, I got up very slowly without making any noise, any sound, without making any sound. I slowly got up from the chair and I quietly, without making any sound, I quietly went out through the door. ഞാൻ പുറത്തേക്ക് പോയി, into the veranda. From there, I leap. This is the second form of leap. Leap means jump into. Okay, leapt in a past form. Okay, I jumped. Okay, leap means jump. Okay, leapt means jumped. I jumped into the yard. From there I leapt into the yard. I jumped into the yard and ran for all I was worth. അല്ലേ, എൻ്റെ ജീവനും കൊണ്ട് എന്താണ് ഞാൻ ഓടി, എനിക്ക് മൂല്യമുള്ളത് എന്താണ്, ഐ വാസ് വർത്ത് മീൻസ് വാല്യബിൾ. ഒരാൾക്ക് ഏറ്റവും വാല്യബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള എന്താണ്, സ്വന്തം ജീവനാണ് അല്ലേ. സോ ഹി റാൻ ഹോൾഡിങ് ഹിസ് ലൈഫ് ഇൻ ഹിസ് ഹാൻഡ്. ഹി റാൻ. ഓക്കെ, ഹി റാൻ വെരി ഫാസ്റ്റ്. ഓക്കെ, ലൈക്ക് ദിസ് ഹി escaped from that dangerous situation, from the death. So 18th paragraph, if I have a look. I was no mere image cut in granite. I was suddenly a man of flesh and blood. Still holding my breath, I got up from the chair. I quietly went out through the door into the veranda. From there, I leapt into the yard and ran for all I was worth. Next paragraph. Phew! Each of us heaved a sigh of relief. We know that in the beginning of the story, we know that the homeopath is sharing his experience, okay, with his fellows, okay, with his colleagues, might be colleagues or with his friends. Oh, we don't know who is that. So, all these colleagues, all his friends, heaved a sigh of relief. Okay, they have been sitting there eagerly waiting what is happening next. Okay, അടുത്തത് എന്ത് സംഭവിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് ആകാംക്ഷയോട് കൂടി കാത്തിരുന്നുകൊണ്ട് അവരെല്ലാവരും കൂട്ടത്തോടെ ഇരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഓക്കെ, അവർക്ക് ഇപ്പോഴാണ് എന്തായത് ആശ്വാസം, അവരൊരു ദീർഘനിശ്വാസം വിട്ടു, അല്ലേ, സൈ ഓഫ് റിലീഫ്. ഓക്കെ, all of us lit beedies. Somebody asked, "Doctor, is your wife very fat?" So after that, after telling that story, some of his friends started to ask some doubts, some questions. So after hearing that story, they started to lit a beedi and they started to smoke it. During the time, somebody asked, we don't know who has asked, somebody asked, "Doctor, is your wife very fat?" We know that he has a condition when he marries somebody. The condition, one of the conditions was his wife should be very fat. What is the reason? There was a valid reason for that, because if he commits any malpractices, if he commits any mistake, his wife should not be able to run after him and catch him. We know that we have learned. Okay, തൻ്റെ പിന്നാലെ വന്നിട്ട് പിടിക്കാൻ ആർക്കും പറ്റരുത്, വൈഫിന് എൻ്റെ പിന്നാലെ ഓടാൻ പറ്റരുത്, അതുകൊണ്ട് മൈ വൈഫ് ഷുഡ് ബി സംവാട്ട് ഫാറ്റ് എന്ന് നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. സോ ദാറ്റ് റിമൈൻഡിങ് ദാറ്റ് condition, somebody asked, "Doctor, is your wife very fat?" She was very obese, very fat. No, the doctor said, "God willed otherwise." ദൈവം മറ്റൊന്നാണ് വിധിച്ചത്, അല്ലേ? No, the doctor said, "God willed otherwise. My life companion, my better half, my wife is a thin, reedy. What is reedy? R-E-E-D-Y, reedy. Reed means a plant from the family of bamboo. മുളയുടെ വർഗത്തിൽപ്പെട്ട ഒരു എന്താണ്, അല്ലേ, ചെടിയുടെ പേരാണ്, ഒരു സസ്യത്തിൻ്റെ പേരാണ് റീഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. റീഡി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ദാറ്റ് മച്ച് സ്കെൽട്ടൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് എ റീഡ്, ഈറ്റ എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പറയും. ഓക്കെ, എ പ്ലാന്റ് ഫ്രം ദ ഫാമിലി ഓഫ് ബാംബൂ. Okay, so that is reed. So my wife was just like a reedy person. Reedy means that much skeleton. She is a good spinster with the gift of a sprinter. She is a sprinter. That is what I told. She runs fast. Okay, one who runs fast is known as sprinter. Okay, she is a sprinter. She can easily run behind me, and she can easily catch me if I make my mistake. That is why the homeopath says, "The God wills otherwise." The God willed otherwise. Devathinte aagraham mattonnaayirunnu. So the next question, he could hear the next question. Someone else asked, "Doctor, when you ran, did the snake follow you? Did the snake come behind you? Did the snake run behind you when you escaped from the room?" The doctor replied, "I ran and ran till I reached a friend's house. I ran and ran. I don't know how long, how far I have run." Okay, so at last he reached at the house of a house of one of his friends. Immediately I smear. Smear means to apply. Smeared. Applied. He smeared oil all over myself. Smear, to spread oil or cream. There is a meaning. Smear, to spread oil or cream. Reedy means thin like a reed. So reed, I told you that reed means reedy, thin like a reed. And reed എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ a plant from the family of bamboo. കേട്ടോ, reedy അല്ലേ, reed. So reed means a plant from the family of bamboo. That reedy means just like a reed. Okay, that means skeleton. Okay. Immediately I smeared oil all over myself and took bath. As soon as I reached my friend's house, I spread oil all over my body and took a bath, because all over his body, from this shoulder on along this his chest and into his lap, that snake slithered over. That is why as soon as he reached home, he took a bath. I changed into fresh clothes. He might have borrowed dress from his friends, and he dressed newly. He dressed fresh. I changed into fresh clothes. The next morning at about 8:30, I took my friend and one or two others to my room to move my things from there. So the very next day, around 8:30 in the morning, he took his friends and one of others, two or more others with him, and they went to that room to take all his belongings, to vacate that room, to take all his belongings, to take all his things. Okay, his book is there, his table is there, his lamp is there, there is a box, some of his dresses are there. To take all these things, he went there with the very next morning with some of his friends. But we found we had little to carry. There was nothing to take. Everything was stolen by a thief. Okay, there was nothing to take, but we found we had little to carry. Little, we know that little means nothing. Negative one, a little positive. Okay, so but we found we had little to carry. Some thief had removed most of my things. Some of my friends, some of the thief had come over there and he had stolen everything from there. Okay, so some thief had removed most of my things. The room had been cleaned out. The room was empty. There was nothing at all. Okay, but not really. The thief had left behind one thing as a final insult. The thief didn't take only one thing. That thing was just like, the thing was looking at me just like a final insult. ഒരു അവസാനത്തെ അപമാനം പോലെ ഒരു സാധനം മാത്രം ആരെടുത്തിട്ടില്ല, ആ കള്ളൻ എടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. അത് മാത്രം അവിടെയുണ്ട്, ബാക്കിയെല്ലാം കള്ളൻ. ഇറ്റ് വാസ് വാഷ്ഡ് ഔട്ട്. ദ റൂം വാസ് വാഷ്ഡ് ഔട്ട്. ഓക്കെ, ഇറ്റ് വാസ് ക്ലീൻഡ് ഔട്ട്. ദർ വാസ് നത്തിങ് അറ്റ് ഓൾ. ഓക്കെ, വാട്ട് വാസ് ദാറ്റ്? I asked. One of the listeners asked the homeopath, what was that final insult? What was the thing that the thief left there without taking? അല്ലേ, എന്തായിരുന്നു അവസാനത്തെ കാര്യം എന്ന് അല്ലേ തന്നെ കേൾക്കുന്ന തൻ്റെ ഓഡിയൻസിൽ ഒരാൾ ചോദിക്കുകയാണ്. The doctor said, my vest. My vest. He didn't take my vest. The dirty one. The fellow had such a sense of cleanliness. The rascal could have taken it and used it after washing it with soap and water. He didn't take my vest. Vest. Vest means inner cloth used under the shirt. അല്ലേ, ബനിയൻ എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്ന സാധനം. ഓക്കെ, that dirty vest, he didn't take, that thief didn't take that dirty vest. That is that much dirty, because we know that the homeopath was actually troubling to Bothan's meat. Okay, he was living in poverty, in starvation. We know that. Okay, he has some dresses and a meager amount with him. Okay, we know that we have already seen. So his dress was very worst. So that vest, that was not good for nothing. Okay, it was very dirty. The fellow had such a sense of cleanliness. So the sense of cleanliness that a doctor shouldn't have. The sense of cleanliness that a doctor possesses has the same sense of cleanliness for the thief. Okay, ഒരു ഡോക്ടർക്കില്ലാത്ത വൃത്തിയെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ളൊരു ബോധം ആർക്കുണ്ടായിരുന്നു? അവിടെ വന്ന കള്ളനുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അതുകൊണ്ട് അവിടെ വന്ന തീഫിനുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് that vest symbolizes as an insult. ഓക്കെ, അത് ഒരു അവസാനത്തെ ഇൻസൾട്ടായിട്ട്, അപമാനമായിട്ട് അത് അവരങ്ങനെ കിടക്കുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. The rascal could have taken it. He could have taken it. The homeopath thinks that he could have taken it. അയാൾക്ക് അതും കൂടി എടുക്കാമായിരുന്നു. And he could use it after washing. That is what he thinks. Okay, അത് കഴുകിയാൽ ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ പറ്റും. Still his mind is not changed. Okay, he still thinks that vest can be used. And use it after washing it with soap and water. Did you see the snake the next day, doctor? So he has to face another question. The question was like this: did you see the snake the next day, doctor? Pinna പാമ്പിനെ നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടോ? The doctor laughed. He laughed. I have never seen it since. From that incident, afterward that incident, he has never seen that snake. It was snake which was taken with its own beauty. It was the snake which was attracted by its own beauty. So, this is the story. So, this story is translated by V. Abdullah. Okay, actually the story is written by Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. So, some of the things that we have to bear in mind, the new words you have come across with in the story. Some of the new words that I have introduced, I have told you the meaning, and today I am introducing all these new words to you. So, sometime the meaning of these questions can be asked for the exam. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed the story. So, once again you have to read, and once again you have to go through the meaning of new words. Okay, so it's all in today. The note I will give you later, or in the group I will share the notebook of the story, and all the best.